I want to start by saying that this isn't a video about blaming your parents. For a long time, I only thought that emotional manipulation only happened in romantic relationships. I didn't even consider that some of the confusion I was feeling in adulthood had started much earlier in life. It wasn't obvious and there were no clear, dramatic moments, but over time, I started to notice patterns in how I was reacting to people, how I handled conflict, and how difficult it was to set boundaries. And when I began learning about emotional manipulation, I realized that something important. Not all emotional wounds come from partners. Some come from parents who never learned how to regulate their own emotions. If you're watching this, you might not even be sure that anything is wrong. Maybe your parent provided for you. Maybe they showed up physically. Maybe everyone around you kept saying how lucky you were. But emotionally, something just always felt off. You might relate to things like feeling responsible for keeping the peace, overthinking your words before speaking, struggling to trust your own feelings, and maybe even you feel guilty for wanting space. And if you've ever tried to express hurt, it was often minimized. You're too sensitive, that's not what happened, you're remembering it wrong. Growing up in that kind of environment trains you to doubt yourself, even when your feelings are valid. If this resonates with you, it doesn't mean that your parent was evil. It just means that your nervous system adapted to surviving emotionally. About a few subtle patterns that we see when someone grows up with a parent who is narcissistic or emotionally immature. The first pattern is emotional parentification. We learned at an early age that their feelings matter way more than ours. We became the listener, the fixer, the emotional support, even as children. The next pattern we see is conditional love. The affection or approval that you received, it only came when you behaved a certain way. We learned that love wasn't stable or that it had to be earned. For example, if you did something that your parent didn't like or approved of, or maybe you had differing opinions about something, maybe that parent would withhold care from you. They would get emotionally distant. They would give you the silent treatment. They wouldn't speak to you for days, even weeks, or maybe even months. That is what I mean when I say conditional love. The next pattern is gaslighting. Sometimes it's not malicious, but sometimes it's just about emotional immaturity. But the impact is the same. We learn to stop trusting our reality. When you grow up in a dynamic like that, your boundaries feel dangerous. When you feel like you want to say no, it comes across as rejection. And peace feels temporary. Like sometimes you might feel anxious in your body or nervous, like you're just waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for them to get upset. You're waiting for them to start yelling at you. You're waiting for the next bout of silent treatment. Understanding these patterns isn't about labeling your parents. It's about reclaiming your clarity so you can heal. What helped me most wasn't about fixing the past. It was about realizing that I didn't need permission to trust myself. You don't heal by confronting your parent. You heal by learning to rebuild your relationship with yourself. That might look like practicing small boundaries, pausing before explaining yourself so that you don't over-explain. And it might even look like letting other people feel uncomfortable without trying to fix it, letting the discomfort sit without trying to do anything about it, without going into damage control mode. Growth doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means becoming self-directed. Adapt, and then you get to choose differently. If this video gave you language for something that you couldn't quite express verbally, like if it gave you language or a description for your feelings that you couldn't quite express before, that's not an accident. Clarity is the first step towards peace. You don't need to relive the past to move forward. You just need to understand it. If this resonated with you, you're not alone and you're not late. Kindly like the video and share it with your friends so I know that you like this kind of content. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that you'll never miss a video, because we're going to be looking at how growing up with emotionally manipulative parents spills over into our dating life, our friendships, or work life, and even our family lives. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.